Welcome back to another episode of Chicago Brewed Sports. We're a podcast
for the fans, by the fans.
Today we're very happy to introduce our new member to Chicago Brewed Sports, Jimmy. We're happy to have you, Jimmy.
Yes.
Jimmy is taking Brandon's place. As we talked about last episode, Brandon's moving into more of a part-time role. He comes and goes as he wants type of deal.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself, Jimmy.
Yeah.
What do you
I always look forward to watching one of your guys' episodes. Like each time you guys come out with one. Like all the guys in my old unit just got out last week.
Yeah, Jimmy just got out 6
He
years
just got out.
Pretty much everybody over there followed your podcast. And
Hell yeah.
That's badass.
Happy to hear that.
From those
Thank
guys.
you for all the support.
Big shout out to those guys back over there. I miss you guys.
Were they a lot of Chicago fans, Jimmy?
You know, in my unit, there's actually probably about 30% of guys are from the Midwest. And there's a lot of guys that are local to Chicago. Like, you met some of my buddies, Nick Murphy.
Yeah.
Big,
That's a cool guy. Shout out to Nick.
Shout out to Nick over there. Southside guy. But, it's an honor to finally be part of this.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely, man. We're happy to have you here.
Definitely happy to have you. You're going to bring a nice element into the podcast, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
But not to move on, but I heard you guys did a fantasy draft today, huh? Oh,
yes.
Well, I know Joe did. I don't know about Jimmy. But, and talk about, your first two picks or so, and how do you feel about the team,
Yeah, no, so I'm in 4 fantasy leagues.
4. It seems like you kind of have a problem there.
4 fantasy leagues. I'm the commissioner of 2 of the leagues. I guess I'll just run down really quick how my league works. I was kind of explaining it to Andrew a little bit. It's a little confusing. But my main league that I'm the commissioner in, basically it's a keeper league. How it became to be a keeper league was that originally it was a redraft, and then we did a dynasty for 1 year. I asked everyone, hey, what do you guys want to do? We'll take a vote on it, and whatever vote wins, or whoever votes more for whatever you want to do, dynasty versus redraft, we'll do that. So it was literally 50-50. We had 10, I believe, or 12 members at the time. 6 people wanted a redraft, and the other 6 wanted a dynasty league. A dynasty league is where you keep everyone. You never you do a redraft, but it's only for rookies.
Yeah, dynasty's too much.
Yeah, it's too much.
That takes out like the fun of
Yeah, it does, and it's extremely hard if that person has a crap team. It's extremely hard to find someone to take over that person's crap team that he mismanaged. So I was against doing a dynasty league. So instead, what I kind of did was a hybrid league, which is a keeper league. So to make it fair, I did 7 keepers, so you keep 7 players from the previous season that you could roll over to the next year. So we added 2 more spots, and this is where it gets a little confusing.
This is where it gets BS.
It is, but we try to make it as fair as we could. And Jimmy is a new member in the league, so basically the top 70 players were picked. So they got to pick from the pool of the keepers that were picked. So there was some still really solid players in there. I mean, they were a little old. I mean, Travis Kelce was available. Mike Evans, Cooper Kupp was available. Anthony Richardson. So, I mean, there was some definitely solid players available to pick from. But, I mean, they're just starting out. So, I mean, it's a long-term investment, really. And I also let them draft first overall and second overall in the league to try to make it as fair as possible. I mean... it's a long-term investment with the keeper league, so you kind of want to pick players that are what I look for, anyways. Andrew does baseball,
but fantasy. if you're gonna add 2 new teams to a keeper league, you either got to redraft completely, or each team already in the league will lose a couple of their keepers. No,
right? Yeah, no.
That's what makes sense to me.
Joe, you explained that you keep 7 people per year.
Yeah, you keep 7. They roll over from the previous.
So how many
season.
do release every year?
So the bench is about 22. You could max so there's 10 people that actually on your bench. There is 1 IR spot and then 2 taxi spots. The taxi spots are rookies that are 2 years or younger that you could put on your taxi. So if you want to see how they develop in the league, you could put them in the taxi, let them ride it out in the taxi for 2 years. That's kind of why they call it a taxi spot. If you don't like what you see, you could also move them onto your bench from the taxi and start them if you like them. But then you have to drop someone down in your bench. But if you think this rookie has a lot of potential, put him in your taxi, let him sit in there, see how they develop, and then next year you could keep them, or 2 years or whatever, if you really think they have high upside.
All right. So who are your first 2 picks of your fantasy draft?
Yeah, so I will go real quick over mine, who I picked. So there are a lot of, like I said, so the top 84 players were gone with the 2 new members that were in my league. So real quick, I'll go over some of the players with, hang on a sec. I just don't want to get it wrong. It's hard to pronounce.
So the issue is that he's in 4 leagues, so he doesn't know who he drafted number 1 and 2.
It gets a little confusing.
Are all those leagues for money, Joe? Or
okay, so here he is. They're for money.
And each league has transaction fees, so
I'll explain. I'll explain how that works. So Khalil Shakir. So he's a Buffalo Bills wide receiver. We all know they lost Stephon Diggs.
This was your number 1 pick?
In my keeper league, because remember the top 84 players were gone.
All right. So instead of the keeper league, what about a league that's not a keeper?
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. We can go.
Let's go with that, just so there's a bigger and brighter name.
Yeah, no, that's a good good call there, Andrew. So this other league, this is Tom's league. Tom's in my league too now. So he recently did his fantasy draft. Let me see here. I'm trying to. Oh my god.
It's a lot to manage 4 leagues.
Well, I only manage. Okay, here we go. So I only manage 2 leagues. I'm the commissioner in 2 leagues. So I got to pick number 5th overall.
So 5th overall, and you picked who?
Bijan Robinson. So I probably would. I probably would have picked Bryce Hall, but he wasn't available to pick yet. And
who else was still available around Bijan Robinson?
I forgot. He was the best player available, I thought, in his league, so that's who I drafted. Then I got real lucky. So in the second round, I drafted 20th, and I picked up Marvin Harrison Jr. My quarterback was Joe Burrow.
Hold on. Question.
Yeah.
Send me through your thought process on drafting a highly touted, obviously, prospect and rookie in Marvin Harrison, but do you think that's kind of a gamble to draft so highly when his quarterback is Kyler Murray, who's not bad, but is also not like that good? Were there any other solid options that you could have gone with there, or did you just pull the pin and just?
Is this mine, right? So that's a great question, Andrew.
Yeah.
So if it's it depends on what kind of league you're in. If you're in a half PPR, which is you get a half a point per reception, or if it's a full PPR, which both of the leagues I'm in right now, or all the leagues except for one of them, Jay's league. Shout out to Jay Peters. His is a half PPR. Tom's was a full PPR. So you get a full point per reception. I think that Marvin Harrison Jr., the reason why I picked him is not only do I think he's getting compared to Randy Moss, one of the greatest wide receivers in history.
He does look like a stud. I will give you that.
But also that he's going to be the number 1 for Kyler Murray right now. They don't really have a lot of receivers.
Yeah, but we all know, and Kyler Murray's not going to play the full season. He's going to be too busy playing Call of Duty.
We'll see. But either way, I mean, he's still going to be the number 1 target for the Arizona Cardinals. So I think that he'll get me a lot of points. In that
remember
aspect.
when J.J. Watt left the Texans because he wanted to win a ring, so he decided to go to Arizona?
Yeah.
Wow, what an idiot that guy is, huh?
I mean, J.J. Watt.
Out of every team, you choose Arizona to win you a freaking Super Bowl.
He's one of the greatest edge rushers. And his brother, I feel bad too, T.J. Watt.
Come on, man. I mean, at least T.J. Watt is with a legendary franchise in Pittsburgh, But Tom Homlin or whatever.
But I also picked up Malik Neighbors, and he went in the 6th round, which I was a little surprised about. But I mean, I think he's another one of those. He's going to be the Giants' number 1 wide receiver right away.
All right, so Joe, and tell us, how do you feel about your current team right now? Do you think that you can go deep? Is there any question marks you have?
Well, yeah, I always strive to win.
Well,
I mean, that's the whole point, right? Be competitive.
But do you seriously believe that you can take the league this year?
I think so, yeah. So, yeah, some of my strategies that I use in fantasy football are look at rookies, look at age, look at their record, how many points they average. Are they injury prone? Are these guys injury prone? I know Christian McCaffrey was still injury prone, but he produced so many mass numbers.
But the issue with McCaffrey is he's been injury prone in previous years, yes, but when he's healthy, he's so damn good, you cannot pass up on Christian McCaffrey. Like last year, he was healthy, and he had 19 straight games with a touchdown. That's unbelievable. Or dating back to the previous season, obviously.
Was that last year? We had the one game with the passing touchdown, receiving.
But it's just like a player like that is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yes, he gets injured often, but you got to draft him because when he's healthy, you have a league winner right there.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, Andrew. Good points there. But yeah, I mean, so my draft just ended. I mean, I think I'm excited to have 12 members now. Jimmy's part of the league, and I think it's really exciting.
So, okay, Jimmy, you are in this league, right?
Yeah, I'm brand new to the whole.
And Jimmy's brand new to the league. He was one of the new teams in the draft. So tell us about who your first two picks were and how you feel about them.
So first round I got Malik Neighbors, and then second round I got Caleb Williams.
And also noted, Joe's in 4 different leagues, so he said Malik Neighbors previously.
They're talking about 6th round.
Yeah, they're talking about different leagues.
He's talking about my league.
This is the league.
They're talking about different leagues.
What's it called? Not the sleeper league, but the
keeper
league.
Yeah.
It's not a sleeper.
So you picked Neighbors and who?
Neighbors, and I got Caleb Williams second round.
Caleb Williams, yes sir.
That's what I'm most excited about. Is this guy's gonna. He's gonna be a franchise quarterback, man, and I got him
we hope so.
as
Dynasty
a rookie.
quarterback.
So
hope so. He's definitely looking good.
If I stay part of this league, you'll see me in the top.
He's looking
good list right there.
So you have your work cut out for you this year in fantasy. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
I'm learning ropes about.
We're all curious about which direction and route you will take throughout the duration of the season. Yeah. Whether you kind of go for like a rebuild and you kind of like blow up the team and trade off pieces, or
I mean, I'm going for a rebuild, and it's like you said, like I got like the bottom of the barrel players as we just joined the league.
Exactly.
So I mean, it's kind of rough.
Yeah, he got screwed. But,
I mean, we got a good commissioner.
I would have done things different, but everyone has their own opinions.
It's my first time doing it with the buddies, so I mean, I'm just trying to have a good time with it, and I'm just.
But great. And one last thing, Joe. I know that you are unique in the aspect of you have a certain rule for your fantasy team that you like to imply.
So that's a good point.
Yeah.
I
thought this is pretty funny. It's actually a pretty good idea.
It is. Yeah. I like it. I actually stole it from my brother's league because how they did it. But it's to prevent people from adding people off waivers or claiming people off waivers, I should say, and dropping so many people. I charge a transaction fee for not for dropping players or doing trades, that's free, or drafting players, it's free. Only for claiming free agents off waivers. So I charge a $3 transaction fee. I keep track of it, and it gets added to the winning pot at the end of the season, or whoever wins at the end of the season. So it all gets added up. And I mean, it averages anywhere from.
Well, that's not unique about fantasy. A lot of teams do that.
What?
What's the rule with the seventh place, eighth place?
Yeah. So right. Well, not a lot of teams do the waiver charge fee. I mean, that I'm aware of. That's something I have to keep track of on my own. But so if you win the toilet bowl in my league and the sleeper league, the keepers or whatever you want to call it, that you get your money back. So at least everyone that didn't make the playoffs, they have their own bracket of playoffs, and they're still trying to compete. And at least you get something back out of it. It's like, I didn't make the playoffs. It's over for me. Well, no, it's not. I mean, you get your money back.
And there is issue with that. I would imagine some people feel like it's a cool idea. Some people, or it's a fun idea. Some people are against it because ultimately that would take away pot from the first and second place winners.
Yeah.
But I think
with the transaction
what Joe is saying is it kind of like. A lot of people, if they know they're not in the playoff race towards the end of the season,
it's more incentive.
It's like more incentive for them to like keep going.
It gives you more of a buy-in,
Because how often do you guys have like that 9th, 10th place person that just never opens the app anymore because they're out and they kind of ruin it.
Yeah. And the nice thing about that too, Andrew, which is kind of cool, that the Sleeper app, there's like a bunch of different fantasy football apps, but the Sleeper app allows you to now put up to 3 players off your bench. So right before game time, which I activated it in my league, right before game time, if someone didn't or forget, it's nice too if you forget to take someone out of IR, or if the person's has a bye week that day, the app will automatically put people from your bench on and put in on your starting roster. So it should be really competitive this year if someone forgets. It only does up to 3, though.
Yeah, and that's some good stuff. I wish you gentlemen good luck on the season.
I'm brand new to this.
Yeah, Jimmy is definitely...
I have Joe here teach me all the ropes.
Jimmy is definitely going to need a whole lot of luck.
Yeah, you got screwed. If anyone, and I want to say, if anyone has any questions about fantasy football, you can always reach out on our Instagram page on Chicago Brewed Sports, and I'll be more than happy to assist you.
And the expert here would be more than willing to share his advice.
Absolutely.
But I think let's make a cheers real quick. Cheers to our new member. Cheers to Chicago
Jimmy.
Brewed Sports and to all you guys.
Welcome to the new future.
And Jimmy here is going to bring a whole lot of personality.
Hell yeah.
Got that right.
A whole lot of personality.
Jimmy's our energy here, keeping us going. So.
All right, so let's dive into it.
Let's go.
I'm very excited to dive into this topic because everyone knows football season is upon us. Chicago Bears season is upon us.
A week from today.
So one thing to talk about before the season starts, how are we feeling about the way the Bears performed in the preseason?
I mean, the thing is...
Jimmy, start us off, buddy.
I was just talking to my uncle about it the other night. He's like, the 85 Bears went 0-4 in the preseason. Like, it doesn't mean shit at all.
It really doesn't, but it's still exciting for a young team like this.
You know how Bears fans are. He's like, yeah, I mean, we went 4-0 in the preseason, but I think this is going to bring us bad luck and shit. I'm like, hey, come on, Uncle Pat. Like,
you know what? Like, I see your point because the season that the Lions went 0-16, they went 4-0 in the preseason. But it's always good, the Bears have new coaches, new players, a lot of new players that need to mesh well together. Right. So it's nice. You got to, start that winning culture off now just so it carries over into the season. That's just my opinion.
So I do want to say a couple things here real quick about the Bears preseason. The 85 Bears, I believe they lost all their preseason games, and obviously we know what happened with the 85 Bears. I also do want to say that us winning the preseason games, I think that means that we have a lot of depth at our backups, which is a good thing. You could never not have enough depth, I feel like, in your backups.
Depth is huge because you see it all the time in football, especially. Injuries are a daily or a weekly thing.
And I believe the 1 year the Lions were totally just dog shit. They won every preseason game, but it was close, and the Lions went and they didn't win a single fucking regular season game. With that said, teams that have won with more than 20 points every preseason game, which the Bears have, I believe, are around 20 points, have made it to the Super Bowl. So that is something to say.
And one other cool stat: the last time the Bears played in a Hall of Fame preseason game was in 2018.
Yeah,
when they made the playoffs.
Absolutely.
And we played in the Hall of Fame game this year, so hopefully that trend keeps going.
Well, with that said, it's the preseason. You really can't take any of it seriously.
Yeah.
So. Somebody once said that it's like you could take 90% of it. Don't take seriously the other 10%.
I was looking forward to watching. I was actually on a plane ride going back to Chicago from Kelly.
Yep.
It was last Thursday, whatever, against Kansas City. None of the starters played, but it was just a cool moment. As I was heading back into Chicago, I was just flying over the country watching the Bears play.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
I wanted to see Caleb play, but I know we've seen a little bit of him in the Bills and the Cincinnati game.
With what happened with J.J. McCarthy, you
don't want to risk anything, I
mean, man.
Plus, they had 4 games. Everyone else only plays 3 now.
Williams looked really good in the preseason.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of hype around
He looked like Patrick Mahomes, man. He's
phenomenal.
They were calling it the Air Jordan throw, where he jumps up and he looks like Air Jordan and he throws the football. That's Patrick Mahomes.
And everyone saw that throw that he made on the run, throwing across his body to Romo Dunze right in the pocket, heavily freaking guarded. Yeah. It was just like Patrick Mahomes all over. Yeah, 2.0. Obviously, you don't want to give unrealistic expectations or standards to Williams because he is just a rookie. But why not? Why can't the Bears have a Patrick Mahomes type quarterback? We've never had a good quarterback. I mean, Jay Cutler was decent.
He's
rated number 1 of all time.
Jim McMahon. Sid Luckman.
Yeah, Sid Luckman. There were a few, but we never had that that guy.
Right. Andrew, question for you: do you think that Justin Fields, if he came to the Bears right now, do you think he would be as competitive with Caleb Williams as Tyson Bagent is, or do you think that Justin Fields, just because he was the Bears quarterback, do you think he's going to strive in Pittsburgh? He's in a better situation there than he was in Chicago.
Well, Justin Fields' time in Chicago, it obviously needed to come to an end.
Yeah.
But I think Justin Fields is he's definitely in a good spot in Pittsburgh just because of his head coach and all of that.
Mike Tomlin, probably one of the greatest coaches ever.
And Russell Wilson now isn't that good of a quarterback. I get it, but he also does bring a lot of experience to the table. He has 2 Super Bowls.
At his time, he was elite.
Yeah, at his time, he was a very, very good quarterback. So I mean, I'm sure Justin Fields, if he's willing to learn, because he had that locker room scuffle between Nick Foles and the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton. So if he's willing to learn under veteran leadership as Wilson and Tom, then I mean he could make strides, but that's all up to him. But overall, I think he's in a good spot.
The Steelers have the hardest schedule in the NFL right now, and the AFC North is probably debatably one of the hardest divisions too. So we'll see.
I'm just I don't want to harp on Justin Fields too much just because he's not a part of the Bears anymore, but I'm really curious to see what the Steelers do with him, because they were throwing him at the running back position, they were throwing him at the kick returner or punt returner.
But Andrew, I know you mentioned something about the draft capital, or the 6th conditional round offer that we have with the Steelers, that we get their 6th conditional offer. If Justin Fields, I believe he has to play more than 40 or 50% of the snaps. So
then it turns into a 4th.
Yeah, so I wonder if they're going to actually wait till after half of the season to start him or something, But
yeah, I mean, the simple fact, the Steelers are going to do everything in their willpower to not give the Bears the 4th round pick.
Right.
Simple as that.
And they promised Russell Wilson that position.
If Russell Wilson gets hurt, which you don't want to wish someone gets hurt, but for the sake of us getting the 4th pick, maybe Tara Hammy or something, and get us that 4th pick.
I can't stand Russell Wilson.
Obviously, you don't want a guy to get hurt.
Or he's a real scumbag in real life. He doesn't even give out his phone number to his teammates. He just has him speak to his agent. Yeah, one of my buddies from the
Sean
Marines.
Payton got rid of.
He actually played college ball, and he knows guys that all these rookies around the league right now.
I mean, yeah.
I know Sean Payton caught him. He couldn't stand the guy.
He's who's Wilson married to?
No idea.
Sierra?
I don't pay attention to any of this shit.
Is it a famous person?
Supermodel.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Or he's a real scumbag, though.
Well, we don't know his personal character, but I mean, we have heard through the grapevines. Yeah. But regardless, I hope we get a 4th round pick from the Steelers. But all right, so moving on. What is your biggest concern for the 2024 Chicago Bears?
I would say that the team staying healthy, the offensive line staying healthy, protecting your biggest your biggest investment in Caleb Williams, the defensive line staying healthy. I mean, I've said this before on previous podcasts that your number one, the most important position in football is the quarterback. The second most important position in football is the offensive line, and the third most important position is the defensive line / edge rushers. So, and unfortunately, the Bears' offensive line is pretty in the middle of the pack out of the offensive lines in the NFL, and same with their defensive line. So it should be interesting to see. I think as long as everyone can stay as healthy, I think we're going to be very competitive. But that's my biggest concern.
So your biggest concern is the quarterback / offensive line?
Yes. Yeah.
Fair enough. Jimmy?
Was this what me and you were talking about 2 weeks ago, and you said in this 2024 Bears team, there's no exact weak points to the team?
Yeah. There's no weak points, but there are question marks, I feel like.
Yeah.
So...
Well, there's for sure question marks at the center. I mean, we don't know how great this guy's going to be.
My 2 biggest concerns, I'm not really too worried about the quarterback. I really believe Caleb Williams is going to be maybe not elite to start out, but I think he's going to be really serviceable. I think he could have easily a CJ Stroud type season. But my biggest concerns is the O-line. Is Braxton Jones, is he going to stay healthy? Is Ryan Bates a good center? You don't know.
Right.
So is Darnell Wright going to continue to improve off of what he did last season? So the O-line for me is the biggest concern. I also have concern on the D-line. Montez Sweat is obviously a stud. That was a great trade by Ryan Poles. But does he have enough supplemental pieces to go along with him, like Austin Booker? We saw Austin Booker do really well in the preseason. does that translate into the regular season against first stringer, second stringers? Maybe.
Was he the one who got 3 sacks against the Buffalo?
Yeah. Like he Booker looked good, but that was preseason and that was against third stringers as well.
Playing against them.
So
right now they have their other edge on the other side as DeMarcus Walker.
Exactly.
I think this is the first year you have in a while where the quarterback's surrounded by all these weapons.
Yeah.
You got 2 good running backs. You got Herbert backing him up.
Yeah.
You got
for sure
3 stud receivers. You got Cole Kmet at tight end.
For sure.
We got 2 good. We got 2 really.
I think you have a better O-line coming into it than when Fields had the past 3 years.
We just really need the O-line to stay healthy. We need Montez Sweat and some other individual on the D-line to also step up and play big for us.
Yep, I agree 100%.
But other than that, like you said, Jimmy, our wide receivers are amazing. Our running backs are incredible. Our defense, incredible.
Our secondary
defense,
secondary defense is good.
It's all really.
We probably have one of the best secondaries in the NFL.
Yeah.
But I mean,
and on top of it,
you got to be able
Shane Waldron.
Yeah, you got to be
a highly touted offensive coordinator.
Everyone's pretty young too, for the most part.
Yeah,
it is a young. I think it's like the third youngest.
Isn't DeAndre
NFL
Swift 25 years old right now?
DeAndre Swift is 25.
Yeah, I can't believe.
He's not even in this.
I was surprised.
You got Williams 22.
Yeah.
I was surprised that the Eagles didn't re-sign DeAndre Swift.
But I agree. So you guys let us know what is your biggest concern for the 2024 Bears. If you agree with us, if you disagree with us, tell us why. And we always welcome friendly banter. We always appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But all right. Even though we kind of covered it, I'm still gonna bring it up. What is the Bears' biggest strength in the 2024 season? Obviously, we talked about the defense. We talked about the receiving core, our tight end, running backs, quarterback. What do you think is our creme de la crop of this is what the Chicago Bears are this year?
I like their identity. You're saying
Yeah.
what's going to be their identity?
Yeah, what's going to be their identity?
I think that's a great question. I'm hoping that it's going to be the passing game. I mean, like we said with the wide receivers. So if I would have Gander, I mean, our secondary is really good, so we're gonna have a great secondary, I think. But then again, if our defensive line can't put pressure on the quarterback, man, eventually our secondary is gonna get tired, and those wide receivers are gonna get open. But I think that our strength is, I'm hoping anyways, is going to be in the wide receivers. We got 3. We probably have the best wide receiver core in the NFL, if you include our tight ends with Gerald Everett and Cole Kmet. So, I mean, if I had to pick something, it would probably be that. So, and our running game, too. I mean, fuck, man, we're going to...
DeAndre Swift, Herbert. Herbert was pretty solid last year.
He was. Yeah. Wouldn't it be so nice for the first time in the Chicago Bears history for us, instead of having a defensive first team, to have an offensive first team?
That was always the Bears' identity. People always
say for the past ever since they've been in existence.
Hey, how about let's give the defense a break here? How about the offense? Carries the defense for one.
Well, that's always been the Bears' identity since '85, man. Strong defense with a good running game.
Yeah.
And everyone's always like, "Oh, what's the Bears? It's identity, dude." It's always been the Bears' defense with a good running back game. I mean, that's what it's always been. But now times have changed,
Yeah. So, Jimmy, in your opinion, what do you think is the biggest strength of the 2024 Chicago Bears?
I mean, you already highlighted with our key offensive personnel we put on the team. We got veterans like Keenan Allen leading the receiver core.
So you're also saying...
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say it's the first time since the Bears have been in existence where it's an offensive-driven team that's going to deliver on the wins this year.
I agree.
But I heard we got the top one of the top 10 defenses in the league, too, this year as well.
Yeah.
It's like 8.
I think our secondary...
I forget what they ranked them at.
I think our secondary is top 10.
If someone were to pick defense here or someone were to pick offense, it wouldn't really matter
maybe, or
because
maybe
the Bears are pretty loaded on both ends. So just to be different, I'm excited to see what the defense.
I think they're gonna.
I think they're gonna excel to new heights.
I think the Bears are gonna probably do a lot of blitzing with their linebackers just to help out the defense.
But injuries are a big concern. Our wide receivers look great, but Keenan Allen, he's older, and also there was a report that he gained 20 pounds this offseason. How do you guys feel about that? Is that a good sight? Is that a good sign? Maybe 20 pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's just getting lazier. Who knows?
I don't think he's getting lazy.
I'm not saying he's getting lazier, but 20 pounds is kind of alarming.
So
whether you look at it or not, it is alarming.
From my understanding, is that like the original weight that they had on Keenan Allen was from like him as a rookie, and over his course of the year, he put on 20 pounds, and it hasn't changed him or slowed him down.
How old is he? 30?
Yeah,
He's 33, 34.
Yeah, I know, but so that's just what I heard. I don't know how accurate it is, but I want to say that they're going off that weight, I guess, from when he was like in the combine or something. I heard. So I don't know how much truth that is behind that, but then again, I mean, Keenan Allen last year had no problem on the Chargers. I mean, he looked phenomenal. So, I mean, take it for what it's worth. I
mean, he's a what? How many times he's been to the Pro Bowl?
6-time Pro Bowler.
But the biggest concern is like he's always been a stud with being 20 pounds less. So, like, why gain 20 pounds this offseason?
Well, we don't know if he actually gained this 20 pounds, this offseason, or if this 20 pounds, like I said.
I highly doubt that original weight lasted all the way from the combine. There's no way, on his medical record, they didn't update that shit 10 years.
Yeah, but so...
There's no way.
Andrew, you can't...
There's no way.
Andrew, you can't release anyone's medical records without their permission. It's a HIPAA violation.
Yeah, I don't think I'm talking about that really, though. Obviously, every year when preseason starts, they do their weigh-ins. They got their own diet plan, right? Yeah. They give each individual player, a wide receiver gets their own diet and workout plan to stay more elusive and quick off the line.
Yeah.
A D lineman, obviously they're gonna pump that guy with freaking food and freaking sirloin steaks to beef him up.
Either way, 20 pounds really isn't that hard to lose, especially before the first game. And I'm sure he's already close to, if it was 20 pounds he gained.
I think.
How much did he weigh?
So
200 and something.
So
pounds,
you're saying that it's not an issue?
I wouldn't be worried about it.
I'm saying it is an issue.
No, I mean, I trust the guy. He's a 6-time Pro Bowler.
Well, okay. Fair enough.
He looked good, in training
Either way,
camp.
Andrew, I know you're not really for... Well, you kind of are in the middle with Dansby Swanson. With, or not Dansby Swanson, Derrick Hendrick. Bringing in a veteran and keeping a veteran around just to give advice for the players. And I don't know, maybe that's why Keenan Allen's going to, I think, produce big numbers also. He's there to...
Yeah, Keenan Allen was brought in to help our team win, for sure. But also, he has that veteran leadership, Joe was just saying, where he could offer Rome Odunze some help.
We'll get on to the Cubs later with...
yeah.
Hendricks.
What do you guys call the Baby Bears or something?
Baby Bears, baby. Yeah. The Bears are the baby.
We got the game on right now. But
yeah, we got the game on right now.
It's looking good.
On a phone right here. We're just keeping tabs on what's happening.
That's why I like it's like my second favorite Chicago team is the Cubs. Yeah. Baby Bears.
I'm looking forward to next week, Saturday.
All right, so gentlemen, predictions on how Caleb Williams will do in his rookie year, and I'm talking yards, touchdowns, and interceptions, and rushing touchdowns, if you want.
What I'm hoping, or what?
Yeah, realistically, what you believe Williams can achieve.
That's a good question. I think that the Bears have never had a quarterback that has thrown for over 4,000 yards. Will Caleb Williams be the first one ever? I think this year. I think he's going to do a decent. I know he's a throw first, and Justin Fields was a run first guy, which I love about Caleb Williams. He waits for guys to get open, and he has very good pocket presence. Versus Justin Fields had very poor pocket presence. That's the way he ducked and ran with the ball.
No, I didn't just want to run the ball.
Yeah. So I think that he will get a decent amount of yardage too on top of throwing. I think realistically he's going to throw for 3,800 yards. I think he's going to throw. I'm hoping. Okay, so realistically, I think he's going to throw 20 to 25 touchdowns. Run for 3,800 or throw for 3,800 yards, something along those lines. So, if I had to guess,
well,
you can go.
I have Caleb Williams throwing 4,100 yards.
Damn.
I'm
just breaking or 100 yards over breaking.
But is that too crazy to think?
Not really with this
the
wide
team we have.
No, it's not. That's why I said I don't think so. No.
I seriously believe Caleb Williams.
But he's going to make rookie mistakes. You got to remember he's going to make rookie mistakes. He's still a rookie. So
but he's more advanced than the typical.
He's going to throw some interceptions.
He's more advanced than the typical.
He hasn't thrown any in the preseason, which was good.
Yeah. So I think I have Williams hovering around the 30 touchdown mark. Like 29, 28, 30, 31, I could see all of that happening. As for interceptions, probably inside the 10s or so. I really think that Caleb Williams is going to have a phenomenal season. And, you can call me a delusional Bears fan all you want. I get it. I'm excited that the Bears, have a new quarterback and has the opportunity to be our quarterback. But this Caleb Williams just feels different. He has that it factor to him. He has the look. He has the name. He created a bear claw. He has everything going for him. So I think I am expecting big things from Williams.
He's the next dynasty quarterback.
Jimmy?
I think with the TDs, interceptions, it'd be like a 2-to-1 ratio. I'd say like 28-14. With yards thrown, I'd say... I mean, he has the weapons to do it over like 4,000, but...
I hope so.
I hope so.
I'm just going by realistic.
I'd say like
what I think.
Between 3,500 and 4.
You can't get your hopes up, with the Bears.
I mean, he definitely has the weapons to do it this year.
So we all have Williams doing pretty good this year.
Yeah, I would say, yeah.
We all have him doing pretty good,
which
is awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited. And yeah, if Williams does end up getting hurt, and I don't want to wake up a sleeping giant here. I know a lot of you understand what is about to happen, but if Williams does get hurt this year, it's nice having a guy like Bagent who played pretty well in the preseason.
I mean, we know Joe got a fucking instant boner.
Yeah, Joe has a hard on for sure. Right
yeah, my fantasy football team's name is Tyson Bagent's rookie card.
It should be Tyson Bagent's jockstrap, but
yeah. I think that Tyson Bagent is I think he could start for a lot of NFL teams right now.
Well, okay. Well, and let's talk about that briefly.
Okay.
If a team right now offers you a 3rd-round pick for Bagent, are you doing it?
So, if I'm
a third or a 4th.
If I'm Ryan Poles or if I'm me.
If you're Ryan Poles.
No. For a 3rd, no.
You're not doing it for a 3rd?
No.
Jimmy?
No.
Are you doing it for a 3rd?
No.
I think I'm doing it for a 3rd.
I would personally because
I think I would
because I know he's going to go somewhere else and probably explode if they did do it.
Well, he's like first string.
Well, I mean, Bagent has never proved anything though.
He won 2 NFL football games,
but he also turned over the ball.
8 times.
I'm not talking about this because this is going to go into a whole 30-minute spiel.
All right.
I would absolutely take a 3rd-round pick for.
I mean, we couldn't even get a 3rd round for Justin Fields.
All right, moving on. In 2025, the Bears have a 1st round and 2 2nd-rounders, including 3rd, 5th, and all that stuff. That's pretty insane with the Bears roster as it is. On top of having another 1st and 2 2nd-rounders. And which route do you think we're going to take in the 2025 draft? Are we going with some O linemen? Are we going with D linemen? Are we grabbing?
That's a great question.
I didn't say O-line,
Andrew.
but it all depends on how we do this year.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say. It depends on how this year looks and see what our weakness is. But as of right now, what our weaknesses are, it looks like, is the offensive line, which is not terribly weak. If everyone stays healthy, it's a solid O-line. Then same with the defensive line. I mean, if everyone stays healthy, it's solid. So, but I think we need to still build up the trenches in that area. I don't think we need wide receivers or running backs clearly in tight ends.
Well, what happens if Keenan Allen walks?
Yeah, I mean, we got Romo Dunze. We'll have 2 number 1 wide receivers. It'll be like the Dolphins. All Dolphins only have 2 wide receivers.
How long is Keenan signed for?
Just this year.
Yeah.
Just this year?
And I think they just brought him in, veteran guy.
How old is he?
32, 33, something like that.
Up there.
He's definitely up there. But yeah, I think I could easily see the Bears possibly even make a trade.
Mm-hmm.
This is just fairy tale, right? This is just a fairy tale scenario. What if Ryan Poles does his magic? He cooks up a deal with the Cowboys, and Micah Parsons gets sent back to Chicago for maybe a first and a second. Would that be fucking nuts?
It depends on how bad our
Would that not be nuts?
Yeah, but it depends on how bad our offensive line is, I guess.
Parsons is on the D line, so
that's what I'm saying.
You'd have
because if we need to get an offensive line.
No, you're right. You're right though in that aspect.
Yeah, but I mean,
but the Bears have 2 first-rounders on their line with Jones and frickin' Darnell Wright.
Yeah,
like Braxton Jones proves that he's a stud, but he just has to stay healthy, and he hasn't been able to.
Yeah.
So if he could just find a way to stay healthy.
Tevin Jenkins, he was a high second round.
Yeah, Jenkins too. There's a lot of good things happening on this old line. It's just like these guys got to stay healthy.
That's the biggest concern.
Stay healthy, please.
That's always like the biggest concern with anything.
And a center. We don't really have a true center yet. We're banking that Ryan Bates from Buffalo is going to be the answer, but
he has to be an upgrade.
He didn't really. What we had. He doesn't really have that much experience at the center position.
Better than Sam Mustafer. Gosh, was that guy not good? Sandwich mustard.
Yeah. So, we'll see here. I think, I think the Bears ultimately end up going O-line and D-line for these picks. Jimmy?
I agree, too. I mean, it's all going to depend on what we see this year. But
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because Montez Sweat definitely needs some help. We need another guy on that D-line with him. I know that for a fact. But, all right. Bears haven't won a playoff game since 2010. Is this the season the Bears make the playoffs?
I think they
win a playoff game.
I think they make it in the wild card. Because we have a really tough division, NFC North.
It's probably one of the toughest in the NFC.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jimmy. And I think luckily we don't play any of them until later on. So Caleb Williams could go through some growing pains. Play some softer defenses.
Which is definitely expected.
Yeah.
It's his first season. You can't expect the guy to look like Patrick Mahomes. Didn't Patrick Mahomes need a season to get acclimated?
Well, he
played well for sure, but he didn't really.
He didn't start his first season. He sat behind Alex Jones.
He sat behind.
Or not Alex Jones.
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith. Yeah. Sorry. Alex Jones. Alex Smith. Yeah.
I think the Bears make the playoffs. I'm not sure how they get in. It could be a wild card. It could be they just win the division.
As long as they stay over 500.
I think the Bears will be in the playoffs.
I think the whole division's kind of a toss-up between Packers, Lions, Bears.
Yeah. Don't
it can go either way.
Don't mistake the Vikings either for being a pushover team, man.
I'm not saying they're pushover, but I think they're going 6-11, honestly.
Yeah, probably. But because I think they have a pretty tough schedule. But you got to also consider that the Vikings have 2 of the best wide receivers in the NFL. I mean, not the best, but the one for sure. Jordan Addison.
Addison is suspended for 6 games, and Hawkinson is hurt, and he's going to come back mid-season.
Jordan Addison's suspended for 6 games?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You heard what he did, right?
No. Was he street racing or something?
No. So
that was
the Vikings. The Vikings drafted that one cornerback. I forgot his name. He ended up dying from a drunk driver. The following day, Addison was pulled over and arrested for a DUI. So
really,
yeah, the league.
Shit.
You didn't hear about this?
Are you sure he's thinking of Addison, Jordan Addison,
on the Vikings?
Yeah.
I heard he got suspended. I could be wrong, but I heard he got suspended. Or he's impending a suspension of some sort.
No, he's not. I don't know who you're talking about, Andrew. Jordan Addison's playing his first game.
He got arrested in the offseason.
Right now he's questionable for an ankle injury.
He got arrested in the offseason.
No, you're thinking of Rashee Rice. He did a hit and run. But he didn't get suspended either.
No, I'm not. All right, someone and keep our fans company.
So yeah, we were on the Bears talking about what strengths and stuff they need. We already kind of went over all that stuff. So moving on, our next topic.
All right, so Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Jordan Addison was arrested in California earlier in the year for drunk driving, according to California Highway Patrol.
Okay, but he's not suspended, though, is he? Because according to the...
What I'm saying, there's possibility that he could be suspended. And I saw an article that it's probably going to be...
All right, I thought you said he was suspended.
Will Jordan Addison be suspended?
Hopefully not, because I have him on my fantasy team.
You draft him? You draft him today or what?
No, I didn't draft him.
Breaking news.
I kept him
the
as my keeper.
NFL has announced that the Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Jordan Addison will be suspended for 6 games this season after being arrested for DUI.
This season, really? Shit.
Yes. And this was 5 days ago.
Well, that's not good.
You think the Vikings were going to start J.J. McCarthy? Didn't get hurt?
I don't know.
I think he would have started eventually.
Yeah.
I think he would have started eventually.
Like later on this year?
Maybe that's why he's questionable.
It's saying 3 to 6 game suspension for Addison. So, all right. So the Vikings are most likely going to be out of Addison for 3 to 6 games of some sort. And then Hawkinson is also injured.
I don't know why they haven't updated it on Sleeper. That's weird.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But maybe it's not confirmed yet. That's why they're not like.
Maybe it could be up to. Could be up to 6 games or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But
either way,
there's something going on with Addison.
Okay.
And then, like I said,
thanks for breaking the bad news to me.
Yeah, sorry about that, buddy. But you have 3 other teams that you could play, so I'm sure you'll be fine. Honestly, I don't think I've ever met anyone that's in 4 fucking leagues, dude.
Well, there's a first for everything, Andrew.
Like, that's just insane.
I like fantasy football. What can I say?
It's a lot of shit to keep track of, you know.
That's really not, though.
Well, I mean, the glory thing about football is that you set your lineup once a week and then you forget about it.
Yeah.
Like, baseball is every season.
Day, so.
Dude, for baseball league.
You can make an argument that I guess, like, one season might be equivalent to 4 football leagues.
Probably,
you know? So I guess it kind of evens out.
Yeah. Because you're constantly looking at your app every day, right? Yeah, me. No.
Yeah.
So you set your players, and I told you with that new rule where we can move people automatically in and out. The computer does it before a game starts.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But crazy stuff. How about you guys let us know what your opinions on the upcoming Bears season, what you think our greatest strength is and our greatest weakness, how you think Williams will do. Do you think Shane Waldron will, fit in, and the Bears will fall into his scheme perfectly? You guys let us know, and if you have any questions about fantasy, these are your guys for it. Fantasy baseball, I'm your guys for that, for sure. But I think that kind of covers all the Bears.
Perfect. Moving on.
As for the Cubs, I think it's worth mentioning that the month of August, they went an astounding 18-8 to push them back into the playoff race. Will that be enough with 26 games or so remaining with the Mets surging as well as the Braves surging?
Well, today's they're up 7-1 right now against the Yankees.
So the Cubs should win today.
I mean, if we had the Braves win tonight, we're only 3.5 games back from the wild card race.
You mean the Phillies?
I meant if the Phillies beat the Braves tonight, yeah.
So, we really need the Mets, but the Mets are versus the White Sox.
Yeah, so that's guaranteed.
So that's a guaranteed sweep. But we just really need the Braves right now to keep losing and the Cubs to keep surging. The Cubs, I believe, are about to be on a 6-game winning streak.
It's their biggest one all year.
Heading back to Wrigley to go up against Pittsburgh again, which hopefully we need to sweep them because the next
Yanks,
2 series
Dodgers.
we got the Yankees and Dodgers, who are
two best teams out of
best teams in
both leagues.
baseball, and it just came at a really shitty time. You saw the Cubs earlier get swept by the Guardians, and they're one of the best teams. So if the Cubs are serious about making a playoff, they need to sweep Pittsburgh, and then they have to be competitive against the Dodgers and Yankees. You can't just tuck your tail between your legs and hide against those guys.
I mean, they beat out the Dodgers earlier this year, but I mean that's a whole different baseball.
That was the beginning of the season.
September 1st
I'm pretty sure
baseball.
that was without Mookie Betts and all their guys were hurt.
Yeah.
But the second half Dodgers have been a different team.
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani, man.
Ohtani is on the cusp of being the first 50-50 player in the history of baseball.
Yeah.
It's so insane to think about how, when you think this guy has peaked, he just, excels your expectations or exceeds your expectations. We're talking Ohtani could be the first 50-50 player in baseball history. No other person has ever done that.
It looks like that $700 million is worth every penny for them.
Of course it was. And why couldn't he have been on the Cubs? I always ask that. I don't like to dwell on the past because the past is the past.
I know we talked about that.
But dude, Wrigley is a gold mine. Ricketts has so much money. You could afford it. And then you could have just deferred it the way Magic Johnson did. You know?
But they had the third biggest market in baseball, Chicago.
Or the second.
Yeah. You said the Cubs did offer them like $500 million, right?
Yeah, supposedly the Cubs offered him $500 million, which I find that hard to believe.
Yeah.
You know, but
he probably wouldn't have, even if the Cubs, if it was like, if they offered the same as the Dodgers, I think that he still would have went to LA just because he's closer to Japan. You know, so. But
the Cubs are playing really well right now. We're still in a playoff race. It's still exciting to root for them and watch them. It could be a whole lot worse.
Yeah.
We could be Southsiders. You know, our record could be 31-106. We could be on the verge and cusp of having the worst record in all of baseball history.
I think they are going to.
Which they will easily break that record.
They have to win 12 games.
They got,
20.
Yeah, I mean, they already got knocked out.
They win half their games in order not to.
There's no way.
Yeah, they already got knocked out of the playoffs, so what do they have to play for?
They got knocked out of playoffs like 2 months ago.
I mean, yeah.
I just can't believe how bad they are.
Yeah.
Like, and what also grinds my gears and pisses me off is the fact that Jerry Reinsdorf, a multi-billionaire, you know, went to the governor and mayor of Chicago and demanded that the Chicago taxpayers pay for a brand new stadium for the White Sox. How about you fucking put a good product on the field, get some people to watch your damn team, win a couple divisions, maybe a couple of playoff games, and maybe we'll consider that.
It was crazy.
It's crazy.
There was 2 games in the middle of the week or whatever. There was 98 people total to attend out of both those games.
Yeah, it's freaking ridiculous.
But if you look at Wrigley, no matter how bad the Cubs are, like that stadium's always gonna be fucking packed.
Yeah, and I believe Wrigley is the number one touristy thing in Chicago. Like, seriously, I believe it's up there with one of, like, the number one touristy things. Ricketts went to the mayor and the governor, 7 years ago or so, and asked for a bunch of money in renovations and building up Wrigleyville and the ballpark, and they said no. So do you really think that you're going to get them to say yes, to giving you a whole new stadium for the White Sox when you said no to the number one touristy
I know they're
thing
trying
in
to
Chicago?
build, like, what Wrigley has, like all the bars surrounding the stadium, like a whole
I think
type Wrigleyville, but for the White Sox.
And look,
so all they have is tailgating over there. Got a big park.
Yeah, tailgating's huge though. I love tailgating.
Yeah, tailgating is a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong, and I'm a big Cubs fan, obviously, but that would be kind of good for the city of Chicago if the White Sox had they have a nice ballpark, but they don't have a nice surrounding area.
Speaking for like the businesses and stuff.
Yeah, it'd be good for just like the city of Chicago and stuff, but you gotta like your biggest contract in history is Andrew Benintendi. Come on, that's just disrespectful, dude. That's disrespectful.
Wait, how much is he getting paid?
$75 million.
Wow.
A year?
No.
Oh yeah.
Fuck no. That's like a 4 or 5 year contract.
Yeah, that's okay.
I wish the Cubs would have got Kopech from them, but
Kopech,
I don't always say that.
He's looking good.
I told dude when I saw that guy pitching, dude, I was like 100 averaging 104 miles. I'm like, dude, is this the Cubs' old closer for the 2016 closer for the Cubs?
Oh, Chapman.
Yes.
He's on Pittsburgh now, right?
I think
he's playing anymore.
Kopech is.
Is he still playing? Chapman's
still pitching. He plays for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah, Pittsburgh.
And this year, Chapman is mid-30s. He's getting up there in age, and I believe this year he threw 105 miles per hour, just like how he did when he debuted.
Wow.
So I don't know if he's pumping some performance-enhancing drugs into his system or not, but he has a golden arm and shoulder, that's for sure.
After all this time, I figured he'd be.
But he's not as good as he once was, obviously.
Yeah. Back.
Yeah. But the Cubs are playing really well. It's fun to watch them. Highly recommend you guys continue to support them.
Yeah.
And we've got that game Saturday coming up against the Yankees. We're going to so.
Oh yeah, hey Jimmy, and how about you share with the crowd about your first date at?
I'm not gonna get. I don't want to get into that, man. Come on.
All right, I'm sorry.
Hey, Andrew, I do have a question.
And this guy's embarrassed
about the Cubs. So, why do you think they were in such a long drought before they won a World Series? Dating all the way back to the early 1900s.
How long was 108 years? Or?
Yeah.
Why do you think there was such a long drought for that? Do you think is there a reasonable explanation?
I actually there is a reason behind this, and my reasoning could be wrong, but there is a legitimate reason for. I believe the old owner of the Cubs his name was Wrigley, and Wrigley had a different mindset than different teams. He cared about making a fun place for fans to go to watch a baseball game, and he was all about money. He was like greedy, right? So he made this beautiful ballpark at the time. It still is really beautiful, but he added the ivy, the unique touch, the neighborhood around it, and he more so was focused on filling his pockets than producing like a really good team. So for a bunch of years, the Cubs were like seriously, I believe, not trying to win ball games. You saw with like Ernie Banks, how Ernie Banks is one of the greatest shortstops in history, but he was in the league for 20 years and he never sniffed the playoffs.
Right.
You know, which is really sad, but
yeah, that makes sense. You know, you're more worried about like the fans in the wrong way, like having fun, drinking beer, and not worried about like actually winning games.
You know, it's as simple as this. If you even remotely try, you could get lucky, but you like 108 years. I don't really think people understand how long that is. 108 years.
People went dying with that.
Yeah, people like lived an entire lifetime and didn't see the Cubs freaking win the World Series. It's like
when they were first born to the day they died, they never
like teams get lucky all the time. You saw like the Diamondbacks last year. Yeah, they had a pretty good team, but nowhere near they should have been in the World Series.
Yeah,
they made it to the World Series. You know, they managed to win a game.
I think that. Do you think the Cubs are going to be like that? The Diamondbacks, how they came out of nowhere and just won.
D-backs did again this year because all year they were struggling.
Yeah.
I actually went to a game earlier in late May. I mean, they're an exciting team to watch. They got Marte and Carroll and all those guys.
Yeah, I think the Cubs, if they make it into the wild card, which they still got to make it, I think they still have a good 1-2 punch in Justin Steele and Shota. You know, that's like one of the best in the league right there. So your playoff hope is as far as your pitchers take you. As simple as that. If your bullpen's good, your pitching's good, your defense, you know, you will go deep.
Right.
But we'll just have to see.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. It sucks that it was that long, but you know, we're the Cubs are competitive now. You know, they're on a laughing stock. So.
Yeah. Oh, and one last thing before we start wrapping this up. I did make the playoffs in my fantasy baseball league. I'm the 2nd seed, and this week I'm on a bye. So come Monday, I'm starting, you know, my playoff push for the championship.
So you have the
if I win one this week, I'm in the championship, and then.
So you had the highest, the best record in your league then?
I had the second best.
Second best. Who had the first?
My uncle Luigi. And what's really aggravating about that is I was number 1 pretty much the entire season, and Luigi passed me up the very last week of the season.
Andrew, why don't you tell us a little bit about how your fantasy baseball league works? I know I kind of explained how fantasy football works.
Yeah, so this 12-man fantasy that I'm in, I don't own the league. My uncle does. But it's a pretty solid league. There's 12 people in the league. It's a non-keeper league, so everyone just gets redrafted next season. You get 50 transactions, which I think is kind of a lot, especially when there's no price tag on each transaction.
Like my league.
But baseball is different when it comes to, you know, the amount of players, just because it's an everyday thing that you're constantly recycling through a bunch of players. But, it's not too different, but some aspects of it are different.
Would you prefer to do a keeper league, you think, if they would?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in doing a keeper league.
It's pretty cool. It's like managing your own little franchise.
Yeah. I wouldn't do 7 keepers. No offense, Joe. I think 7 is far too many.
It was a hybrid between a dynasty and a redraft. So
yeah, I wouldn't do 7. I would, if I were to do a keeper league, I'd want to do like 4 max, 4 keepers max, and then redraft everyone else to where it's still fun to, you know, redraft. But
who would you, if you were picking 1 overall, would you pick Ohtani? Would that be your?
You got to go Ohtani.
Yeah,
you got to go Ohtani.
Even with his age right now in a keeper league,
you
think how long do you think he'll be good? He's 30 years old, right? How long do you think?
Forever.
10 years.
I think Ohtani is going to be very good playing into his late 30s.
Okay.
Like.
So you'll think he'll start slowing down. Numbers will start 37, 38. That's when he'll start.
Of course, there's going to come a time and point where a player starts slowing down, but he's that rare breed to where, like, if he can just stay healthy, he's going to be fine.
So he's going to be
you simply do not pass up on a guy who can steal you 50 bags and can hit 50 homers.
Yeah.
You would be an absolute idiot.
So you think like an Alex Rodriguez, played forever, was consistently good? A-Rod.
Yeah, I mean, A-Rod, unfortunately, his career was cut short due to suspensions and injuries, but...
Yeah.
He got in trouble for steroids, right?
Steroids, yeah. I mean, if he didn't get injured and he didn't get suspended for as long as he did, I mean, we're talking he could have been the home run king easily.
Yeah.
You know, he still had it in him when he retired at 696. So, I was actually really, really kind of sad when I saw that A-Rod was retiring. It's like, how do you go through all what you did, to stop at 696, 4 home runs short of 700. You know, like, why don't you just stick it out for the freaking...
How old was he when he retired?
I think like 39. Yeah, 38, 39 or something like that.
Right, so he had a long career.
He definitely had a long career. And he made a shit ton of money.
In it for when I was in high school and grade school, A-Rod was always like the GOAT, you know?
Yeah.
Derek Jeter, I know how much you love him.
There was a lot more sluggers when we were growing up compared to now, I'd say.
Yeah, like
you had Griffey,
Barry Bonds.
I think there's like larger than Christ, dude. I think they're like larger than life characters or like baseball players back in the day, like Jose Canseco, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey. It's like the list is Jim Thome. It's just Frank Thomas. It just keeps going. Yeah. Just like Hall of Fame studs.
Yeah. How, Andrew, and you're real quick before we wrap things up. How do you guys draft? Like, is it like based on your if you came in first place, you're drafting last the next year? Okay.
No,
is it randomized?
Completely random.
Okay.
Completely random.
So if you guys were going to do a keeper league, would you want it to be from then on out? Would you want it to be randomized every year, or would you want it to be based on who won gets to pick last? How would you want to do it?
That's a very good question. I think I don't have all the details yet, but next season I am making my own league. And
I know you told me this year. You're like, hey, you want to be in? I'm like, yeah, dude, of course.
Well,
and I never got a message.
This year it will be happening.
All right, you better include me on this.
So I don't have.
I'll be in 5 fantasy leagues.
You're making your own league with baseball.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have the full detail whether or not how that's going to work, but
yeah, that would be fun. We should do a live casting here for it then. For Chicago Brewed Sports.
And we have a lot of people to do it with us. You two, Brandon would do it. Buddy Alex and his father would do it. Some of my other
Would you say baseball? It's probably not as big as football, right? Like how league people get into it, or
fantasy football is way bigger.
Yeah, that's why.
Way larger.
Yeah,
way larger.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot easier to keep what we said, baseball's played, and you have 162 games, and you're constantly on your phone managing this team.
Yeah,
I feel like football's a lot easier, as what you said. There's one game a week.
It's only one game a week, so that allows you to do 4 leagues like Joe, which I think is still kind of crazy. But for example, I'm in 2 baseball leagues, and it can be overwhelming at times, especially because how long the season is, and every day you're managing 2 teams. It does get stressful, but I'm a baseball junkie, so it's not that bad for me. But
my brother just texted me, who's a good wide receiver on the Bears? And I said, don't pick any for fantasy football wise.
Why?
Because you're not going to get a lot of points because they're going to be split between Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, and Gerald Everett. So I would avoid the Bears wide receivers and tight ends unless maybe Cole Kmet, if he falls in a later round, but just because they're going to be split up the targets.
Wide receivers or tight ends?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Both. So.
But
yeah,
that sums up our podcast. Obviously, we have our world famous beer review. It's not that famous yet, but hopefully one day it will be. Joe, since you're kind of the beer expert here and you do all the in-depth details, how about you start us off?
Sure. So went to Benny's earlier today before stopping here at Andrew's house to do the podcast. By the way, This is going to be a whole new location. I know we said
yes. Thank you for bringing that up.
I know we said that on the last podcast that we're going to change things up and we're going to have it at Andrew's new place that he's moving into, but he didn't have Wi-Fi set up there yet, so we had to do it here again. Either way, I picked this beer up. It's called Cosmic Glitz. It's
Cosmic Glitz.
I thought it was Blitz.
Is it Blitz?
No, that looks like a G.
That's a G, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
So
it does look, but this isn't even English up here,
No.
dude. This is like a fucking Russian beer. Or something.
Cosmic Glitz. I did think it said Blitz, and it's a picture of a bear. Jimmy, if you want to go show the camera the bear, and I thought it was really cool because we're Bears fans, and this is a Chicago podcast. That's good right there. It looks like an actual.
Hey, you gotta do it slower.
Here, let
you gotta show them the art.
Andrew, what do you think of the artwork?
Yeah.
It looks good, right?
No, so actually, not yet. And freaking back up a little bit. Yeah,
right there.
And I'll do it.
Yeah.
There you go.
So it looks like an actual Chicago bear. Really cool artwork.
Jimmy, you're good.
These IPAs have like the coolest artwork I've ever seen. So this is made by Hidden Hand Brewing Company. Cosmic Glitz. It's a hazy double India Pale Ale, so IPA. So a little bit about it. An aggressive and complex dank hop fruit glow in a hazy aura of the Green Mountains. Juicy pine, earthness, and sweet tobacco notes with a soft melt backbone.
Sounds like a lot of bullshit in my opinion.
Either way, it's a pretty decent beer. 8% alcohol.
Oh, it's a strong one.
Yeah, it's a little strong.
It's pretty good for being 8.
Man, I don't know. It doesn't say on the can.
Give that man his car keys, huh?
Yeah, but really cool artwork. The beer quality. I mean, I'm not crazy about double IPAs. It was just something quick I picked up. Really like the artwork. It had a bear on it, so that's kind of what was the giveaway for me to get it.
So out of 10, Joe.
So out of 10, I'm gonna give it 6.5 out of 10.
Fair enough. It wasn't my favorite, honestly. I wasn't like too big on it. 8% is kind of too much for me, regardless. I'm going with like a measly 5, and I know that's a rookie score, but a 5 out of 10 I think is, it's fine.
I honestly give it a 7.2. I actually thought it was pretty good for 8%.
Wow.
Yeah, I was trying all those.
So you're telling me that you'd be able to drink this throughout the duration of an entire night?
No, I mean I get hammered like.
Yeah, IPAs are known
but
as stronger
if you give it a 7, if you give it a 7 score though, that means that you would.
It's Andrew's dad laughing in the background
throughout the entire night.
I mean, if I was like pacing myself,
right?
Yeah, no. So
I was drinking IPAs. Like we were at Joe's bachelor party. I mean, I definitely have a couple of these on the boat.
Yeah, no, these are good. Like sipping. I mean, IPAs are like sipping beers, man. They're not like for chugging beers, playing games with. Hidden Hand Brewing, by the way, real quick, is located in Naperville, Illinois. So it is a Illinois beer. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Andrew, what would you give it, Andrew?
Well, yeah, and I said a flat 5.
Flat 5, that's right.
You were 6.5, 7.2.
Yeah, flat 5. I would not be drinking this again.
I know you like the IPAs, but it depends on, I guess, which IPA.
Well, also, like, it wasn't really like cold at all. It was like warm, like lukewarm.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We have my dad burping in the background. So.
All right.
There's no way you heard that.
You'd be surprised.
So shout out to Carl Norderly.
Shout out to Carl.
Carl.
And that's all we got for you guys. Until next time, next week, we'll let you know. Oh yeah, you know what we should do real quick that I totally forgot.
Rate them so you don't.
No. So hang on, guys. Our Bears prediction, and whoever loses has to do a shot of Malort. We did not do that against the Eagles, and I forgot to.
So wait, against who?
Not the Eagles.
Yeah, not the Eagles.
The Titans, the Tennessee Titans. So we could do that real quick, and then we'll end it.
I think the Bears are stomping the Titans in this game.
Okay.
I'm going to say like 31 to like 14.
31 to 14. I'm going to go with 21 to 13.
I was like 28-17.
28-17. Okay,
It's all pretty close.
So how this works is that whoever. So we're gonna add up the points. Whoever has the most points, like furthest away from the total, will have to take a shot of Malort. So we'll let you know.
really do
has to
not
do
want
that?
to take.
12-1.
Holy crap!
Wow.
Cubs are killing Washington.
Andrew doesn't want to take a shot on Lord. He's saying.
I really don't. I'm going to do everything in my willpower to not take this shot.
It's pretty nasty, that stuff.
I
Tastes
think
like permanent marker.
I think we got to up our game. Maybe do 2 shots on Lord. All right. Until next time.
All right, guys. And catch you later.